the giveaway. Everybody's been waiting for that. Today is the day. You can hear that. That's slips bouncing around a hat, and if you want to confirm it, you can check out this video on YouTube and you can see randomly reaching, grabbing John Eisner. John Eisner, you're the winner, man. So you're gonna get some stuff, and just to show that wasn't only John Eisner, there's another one I'm putting to the camera. Let's see if we can see it, or that they weren't all John Eisner. I'm sorry, but here it is, man. John Eisner, dude. Thank you so much. Thanks for. Welcome back to the Blacktop Banter podcast. Glad to have you all here. We're really getting a lot of support from social media and in real life, obviously, for the podcast. Getting a lot of messages, getting tagged in a lot of things. I really appreciate you guys. I really do. I believe that's going to be the motivation to keep this thing rolling and going, is everyone's interaction with it. I just recently posted a picture like today of Scratch, the podcast puppy. Scratch, come here. And I'll try to show him to the camera, maybe let him breathe in the microphone. But, you know, it's one of those things. You got a podcast puppy that hangs out in here. So if you hear background noise, it's probably him chewing on something, whether it's a rawhide or a stuffed animal or my shoe or something. But he's going to be hanging out with us quite a bit. And we're getting a lot of requests for guests, which is great. And I have people out there actively looking for guests for me, which is also awesome. I'm here to learn. Hopefully you guys are here to learn as well from our guests. Hopefully you learn a little bit from me. We're going to grow, and Scratch, the podcast puppy, is also going to grow. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. But I really want to start with a shout out like we always do. I want to give a shout out to AG Sport Surfaces on Instagram. They do all kinds of tennis courts, all kinds of courts in general, sport surfaces out there where they're at, and they are also getting into different things as well. So follow them along on Instagram. Once again, that's at AG Sport Surfaces, and see what they're doing, man, because it's about to get interesting. So before the podcast started, you can hear those are the names of the giveaway. I did draw the giveaway name, John Eisner, and I'll throw that clip in right here on the video of me drawing John Eisner's name. And I drew another name just to show the camera that they weren't all John Eisner. But John, thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate that, man. We're going to have another giveaway coming up. You know, John's going to enjoy shirt, sticker, and hat from Wis-Coat, but Blacktop Banter gear is coming up now. So we're going to give away some Blacktop Banter gear. And also included in that stuff is going to be items sometimes from our sponsors. So if you follow along, you might be able to snag something sweet that you might actually use out in the work field. So very cool. Really appreciate all of our sponsors. They're starting to jump on board, and I cannot say how much I appreciate the head of steam that we have here with the podcast, the optimism that I'm hearing from everybody. Of course, you're going to get a few people that don't like it, I would imagine, and wonder what I'm doing being the host of a podcast. But I'm here to learn. Hopefully y'all are here to learn. And we're going to follow this journey down along our way because we want to learn for our businesses. And speaking of businesses, I'll give you a Wis-Coat rundown. What we did this week, I went and secured a loan for a piece of equipment that we're going to be purchasing. I want a pull-behind seal coat unit, a large one. And that's what I did. Went to the bank and secured a loan for that. Now we're going to be, I'm laughing because Scratch is over there biting a coat wrapped around a leg of a chair, but we let him do his things. Also this week, I had a great surprise, I guess I'll say. My friend Dustin from Michigan Marking came into town, and we got to hang out for a little bit in Madison. Always great dude, doing huge things over there in Michigan. I love to follow him along and see what they're up to. Super smart, super dedicated, super hardworking, a wealth of knowledge. Great dude. Super great dude. So we did that. We also purchased ourselves a dovetail trailer with ramps. My first plan with the dovetail was to take the two 500-gallon truck-mounted units we have, put them on that trailer, and then have 1,000 gallons of sealer or a mixture of one or two types of sealers that we can use, pull that trailer around, use it, and, you know, have that in our arsenal as well. But the more I got looking at the trailer, we purchased a roller recently, and I thought, man, I would hate to have tanks on there, come across a small Bobcat, and not be able to tote my Bobcat and roller around. So I'm not quite sure. I'm up in the air on it yet, but we did purchase it. I'll post a picture of it, maybe to Wis-Coat, probably to the @Wis-Coat LLC Instagram, and you guys can check it out there. So I want to round back around to Dustin. Dustin from Michigan Marking, actually. We met at Cleveland when I spoke at National Pavement Expo there through a mutual friend, and we just hit it off. And we were there at this meeting because the guys that I was hanging with from Marathon, shout out, I got the hat on today, Marathon Solutions Group. I was hanging out with those two dudes, and we went to a place where Dustin was hanging out with somebody else, and we all met there because there was a guy there that had engineered something in striping a while back that revolutionized it. I'm sure you can figure that out. We were all there networking at National Pavement Expo, and I really wanted to touch on networking because it has been monumental for me, not only to grow as a business, but to grow as a human and get into other different things along the way as well. And I really want to touch on that because there's certain opportunities that come along that you don't jump on because you have, my problem, I guess I'll say, was I had too much pride. I don't need help from anybody. I can do it myself. These guys don't know anything. They definitely don't know me and my business. And they're not going to tell me how I need to do it because I know what's best. That was young me talking to myself. Now, that doesn't happen at all. I want to be at every networking event I can be, whether it's an open house for a seal coating company, and even companies that I don't use, or whether it's just at a dinner that I'm invited to, or if it's a meeting of entrepreneurs that aren't in my industry, if it's at expos that aren't in my industry but are kind of related, I still want to be there. I want to be anywhere that I can network because those links have linked together over the years to create an invaluable network for me. I can call any of these guys up at any time. They're not in my market, and some are in my market, but they're just an invaluable resource. They're not going to be biased or kind of not tell me something just because they don't want me to succeed because I'm in their market, because they're not in my market. So take advantage of those opportunities to network because it can scale you. Like, it can scale your business to network. You can go from wondering how do I get to the next step to someone clearly showing you, dude, the next step is easy. This is how you do it. Those become mentors. Some become mentors. I have snagged a few mentors out of there, guys that are super great guys, nice guys that want to help. They want to pass on their knowledge. They want to see me succeed because then entail that means they've succeeded also as a mentor. And I can't talk about it enough, man. And we're kind of going in from not so much small scale, but in my eyes, we're still small scale. You know, in our area we're not, but in the sense of statewide we are. In the sense of tri-statewide we are. In the state of, you know, nationally, there's national maintenance contractors out there. I know some, and those guys are, I'm envious of those guys because of that, because what they have to do to put in to be a national contractor in this field, you can see that that's hard work and that takes a lot of dedication and service. So that's what's on my mind is networking. I'm going to be speaking April 17th in Eagan, Minnesota at the Seal Master there. Come network. Come hang out with me. Come hang out with other contractors there. They're coming from all over. Some are coming from the middle of Wisconsin. Some are coming from the other side of Minnesota. I'm sure some will come from Iowa. Maybe some from Illinois. So, you know, these guys don't... It's a way to talk shop because around you might not have a lot of people to talk about or bounce ideas off of. You know, to talk with, I'm sorry, not talk about, but talk with or bounce ideas off of. And it's a great opportunity. You can do that online as well in Facebook groups or on Instagram or in comments or in threads or in forums. And it's kind of the same thing, but not really the same thing, because once you put a personality with somebody, or you are there in person, you can strike up friendships. And friendships are unbelievable in this industry. That means that someone wants you to succeed, and if you need help, they're going to be there to help you. They're not going to try to get one up on you to make themselves feel better, because they want you to succeed. They're your friends, man. And the other part is you get to meet suppliers. A lot of times there's suppliers at these events that can help you out and be there when you need them. When I got my striper, the very first time I went to lay down lines, I practiced with water, and I was like, I got this down. I even did a hairpin radius and was like, I got this down. I got out there and put the paint in, and the whole game changed. My tip, I actually had it marked on my striper arms. This is where it has to be to get a 4-inch line. And dumb me, because I was ignorant to the way this thing works, I was using latex paint at a cool temperature, and I could barely get a 2-inch line if I was lucky. Because of my networking at one of these events, I was able to call somebody up, ask them for insight, get the insight I needed, finish the job, learn my lesson, ask them later on how I correct this thing, and we have never had an issue since. That's invaluable to me. A lot of guys, I have a feeling, that would have been in my shoes would have kicked that striper to the curb and just said, screw this, I'm going to get somebody else to do it because I'm not going to mess with it. And now, like I said, through all this networking that I've done myself, I'll tell you how to start. You start by finding subcontractors that kind of work with you and kind of are in your field that you're going to need. Not like actively go out, but you just do. You go out, you start talking to them. They have business models that are kind of like yours, so you kind of communicate with those guys back and forth. And then randomly, somebody will have a garden expo or a field expo or something like that, and you'll start going to those, walking around, getting to know suppliers and things like that. And then maybe you join the Chamber of Commerce. That was our next step. We didn't go to the expos till after we joined some chambers of commerce. And we went there and started striking up friendships with businesses that weren't in our field, but still the basic general sense of business and how you run a business the right way, the proper way, started to come into light. And you just take those little next steps and say, now I was doing this wrong, now I'm doing this right, now I need to do this, obviously, because so-and-so said I needed to do this. Can you hear Scratch? He's playing with a toy over there and starting to growl fiercely. But after you get to be friends with those guys at Chambers of Commerce, then you start going to expos. Well, then if you have an active community, they start hosting events on their own. And if that community happens to coincide with social media, then you're able to plan events and go to events with these same kinds of people. Those friendships are started to get developed. You talk about all kinds of things. I've learned so much through just moments of networking with my peers at National Paving Expo and at open houses. An open house, I guess if you don't know what an open house is, it's when, at least in our industry, is when a supplier, whether that's your seal coat supplier, whether that's your tool supplier, whether that's your crack sealing product supplier, they have an open house or an event, and you go there and you take part in that, but also you get to network and meet people if you're outgoing. If you're not outgoing, still wear some of your gear, because people will be like, where do you work, where are you from, what do you do, and that'll spark some conversation too. But once you go to those things, I really encourage everybody to go to NPE. Everyone knows that, especially, and NPE is National Pavement Expo, especially for the networking, because if you only go just for the floor and the networking, you are getting a huge chunk of value. And then once you start networking and wondering about certain topics and how to know more, then the next go around, you can actually get conference sessions for that topic to learn specifically what you need to do from instructors. So it's a great tool to contractors like us to have. Networking. That's my thing, man. It's been invaluable. It's a great resource to go to, are all the people in your network that are, not only acquaintances, but become friends as well. So do it. Scratch, put that down. Anyways, it's a great resource. I really recommend it, everybody. And that's what we're going to use to go from small scale to large scale, because as you go up that scale, I don't want to say the ladder, but the rope that I always talk about, the people that have hung on and made it farther and farther along that rope get fewer and fewer and fewer. So your competition that's there is less and less, but the people that are there are fierce. And if they're willing to teach me how to climb up that rope in an area that's definitely not by them, around them, or that they're worried about anymore, I'm willing to take that advice. I recommend you do the same. That's it on networking. Listen, this is going to be a short podcast because we have a lot of guests and we're going to get to some more of them along the way. But networking is the thing. If you need to ask me where in your area they're having some events, I may be able to find them. Find me at Blacktop Banter on Instagram or message me personally. Either way, I'm fine with that. But I want to get to one other thing. Hold on, I got to jump over and get it real quick. Alright, sorry for the delay. But this is it. Blacktop Banter stickers. So these are yours for free. Anybody that listens and is on Instagram. So message me through Instagram only for a Blacktop Banter sticker, and I'll get you one for free. All I ask is if you do stick it somewhere or slap it somewhere, take a picture, post it, and tag us. That's it. But if you don't want to do that, but you still want a sticker, message me through Instagram and we'll get you one for free mailed to you. That's the least I can do, I think, for your guys' support, is start getting it out there. If you're proud to listen and you really enjoy it, I should at least be able to get something in your hands that lets you say, yeah, I'm proud to listen to this thing, proud of what we're doing. It's all of our community, so we're going to do it. I'm going to snag a scratch real quick so you guys can see them. Hold on. Alright, this is him. This is the guy. Say something. Alright, he's giving you guys a silent treatment. I really want to thank our sponsors once again for kicking in with us. We really appreciate it. And our sponsors that are wondering and I'm communicating with, we would be glad to have you on the show. Yeah, I can't explain how much it means to even have any sponsors, but to have ones that actually support us and are going to take part in events and giveaways and things for you guys, my friends, my listeners. I'm very excited for that. All right, I'm out of here. Like always, I want you to seal it. I want you to stripe it. I want you to pave it. But most of all, I want you to kill it. Peace.